Y'all, I am down to the Mississippi in the Chucalissa or whatever they said in the Valley. Lord have mercy. Listen, we are here to discuss the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I got to let y'all know I'm down here in the Jackson, Mississippi for the Bell Collective Press Day Extravaganza, okay? I will have footage and details and all of that on, well, give me a couple of days, okay? Because I need to put it all together. We're going to watch episode 2. We're going to do a little brunch. You know what I'm saying? We might even visit Ferris Street, but enough about that because I will tell you guys about that in another video. Today, we are here to talk about The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Season 12, episode 12, Beverly Hills Blackout. Now, before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Hit the notification bell button. And let's get this Ponderosa started, baby. Okay, so we got to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm going to give this episode, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It was a good episode. It's almost a 9 for me because we had a very interesting intervention. We had some very upfront, frank discussions happen. And then we also had some people, really calling Kyle to the carpet. And we actually get a very distinct differentiation in the friendship types that exist within the show. And we get a reason, for me at least, as to why Kyle Richards refuses to allow herself to be a great or the greatest housewife that she can possibly be. We're going to get to all of that. So that's my raterization. You guys let me know what you would rate it down in the chatterization down below. Okay, so let's get into it. So, of course, we pick up with Erika telling Crystal that she can't have the chicken tender before waltzing off to get another drink while they are at Diana's Christmas party. So, meanwhile, Kathy, walks up to Sheree. Lord, it's going to take me some getting used to. We got people with the same name and the same spelling, but they pronounce different. Y'all gonna have to just forgive me. Charge that to my mind and not my heart, Miss Sheree, because I do not want to get you confused with Miss Sheree, who is, allegedly dating the Martell Holt. Okay, we don't want to get y'all confused right now. But Kathy thinks she knows Sheree, and Sheree is like, "Girl, I have never met you before." But this is par for the course for Kathy because she mistakes Garcelle for Kyle all the time. Okay, so anyway. Suddenly it's time to go inside and it's time for Diana's man-child who, okay, if you saw this part in the episode, y'all let me know what y'all think about him, okay? And that's all I want to know. What y'all think about him, let me know in the chatterization. I want to know what you think. But for right now, I'm going to call him the man-child. Anyway, he goes to singing the Old Holy Nights. You know what I'm saying? I personally prefer Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child version much better. But the man can sing, and he even brings Lisa to crocodile tears, okay? As the man is trying to hit the the good part in Oh Holy Night, were you about to hit the high note? Erika Jane is singing her little heart out. She is singing louder than she ever sang on Broadway, okay? And Garcelle is looking at her like, Erika misses the spotlight and she won't shut up. And even Crystal is like, yo, this is mad disrespectful because this is this man's moment. And in my mind, I literally wrote in my notes, girl, shut up and let Ashton Kutcher have his moment. The man's name is Ashton Kutcher, okay? That's what he gonna be called for now. With Ashton with the good hair. So anyway, Lisa, Erika, Dorit gather for more drinks and Kathy joins them. Was it Dorit or Diana? I don't really know. Anyway, they about the same to me at this point. Erika lets Kathy know that even though she invited her to a lot of events, Erika is like, I didn't want to bring my scorn to your event. And suddenly Erika is in Dorinda-styled tears and slurring the words. And Kathy's like, well, okay, you at least you replied or whatever. And Erika then continues to slur that she didn't want to bring her shame to something so beautiful. And this would have been a beautiful moment, honestly, on camera if Erika wasn't so wasted. Because she was really having a sort of come to Jesus moment, I believe, in her head about where her life used to be and where it is now. And we see a lot of this realization occur throughout the episode. I would be much more interested in that story, because that to me is the actual story, and all of this drinking, mixing the medications and the alcohol is fluff to cover up what really needs to be discussed. And that is, she lived this life, this amazing life, come to the realization that this man was taking these people's money, okay, and using it to fund this life that she used to live. And now she has to reconcile that in her brain. To me, that's the more interesting story. And I think that would make her more, at least a little less unlikable. You know what I'm saying? To sort of see, honestly, like what's really going on beneath the surface. Like, put away this tough girl act, put away this drunken act, and let us see what you're really going through. But I at least admire her for giving us something, unlike some other people that we will discuss in just a bit. Okay. So anyway, the other group is sitting there is Kyle, Crystal, Garcelle, and Cherie. They sitting there talking, and Kyle brings up Sutton. And, she says that Sutton really wanted to come to the party, but she got the pandy right before she came, and now she's all alone. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, suddenly Kyle has empathy for Sutton. It has hell frozen over. Okay. And sorry for my usage of language, but I mean, that's the real question here. Anyway, Kathy joins them and lets them know that Erika is basically OOC. In case you don't know what that means, it's a Mariah Carey term, out of control. Okay. And she says, you don't want to be so drunk that you can't control yourself. So even Kathy notices it, and she ain't even been around. So Garcelle lets her know that, she's like, girl, did you know that she cussed out my son? And Kyle is like, yeah, but we kind of need to cut her some slack because she's letting her hair down. She's letting her extensions out, all that good stuff. And all of these are just little things anyway. And Garcelle is like, no, you can cut her some slack. I don't got to cut her no slack. Okay. Back over there with Erika, Diana, and Lisa, she reveals that it was Lisa's daughter that inspired her to take care of herself. And now suddenly she's on the Lexapro, this medication, that medication, this medication. Yes, she's drinking a little bit. And of course, she's swaying a little bit. And yeah, she might be slurring her words, but so what? Okay, so what? Meanwhile, on the other end of the room, Garcelle is voicing her concerns about the Mexico trip, her birthday party, and tonight with the girl singing over Ashton Kutcher. Okay. So then Kyle is like, you know what? I feel like I am ultra sensitive to this because basically in season 1, Kyle outed that her sister Kim was an alcoholic, and now she regrets it and still has PTSD to this day because of that. And she knows that's also a sensitive subject for Kathy Hilton as well, because I am sure Kathy did not feel like what Kyle did was right. But Kyle feels like Garcelle is trying to bait her into saying something. And I'm like, no, she's not. She's actually voicing concerns that everybody else in the room can see. But because you are choosing to be blindly loyal, because you are afraid of the wrath of Erika, you refuse to accept that there is actually a problem going on. And you are not a good friend, because what you're doing is enabling that behavior because you're too chicken to actually say something. And to me, I have heard people call Kyle a beta, and I don't typically like these alpha and beta labels, mostly because I kind of feel like, who wants to be called a beta? You know what I'm saying? but she acting real beta like, you know what I mean? And to me, this is what prevents Kyle from being the best housewife that she can be. She's messy enough to stir the pot with people that she perceives to be weaker than her, but she's not willing to stand up to people who she perceives to be stronger than her. And I don't like that at all, because the rest of the ladies are doing the work. And if even Crystal can say, like, listen, Crystal calls it out in her confessional. She says Kyle's idea of being a loyal friend is 100% backing that person. But being a real friend for Crystal means calling them out on their BS when they need to. But for real, Crystal and Erika aren't really friends like that. It needs to come from a Kyle who is the leader or the lead on this show. But unfortunately, it's not going to come from Kyle. It's going to come from the most unexpected source for me, okay? So Kyle continues to make excuses and ask Garcelle when she's ever seen Erika, crunk or anything like that before. And Garcelle is like, yo, she attacked Sutton all last year. And Kyle is like, well, she wasn't drunk then. Anyway, what I'm going to tell y'all is the tea is, if you listen to Carlos King's podcast that he did last week with living legend Jessie Woo, okay, my fellow cancer sister, he basically revealed that allegedly the tea behind the scenes is that the woman, Erika Jayne, is allegedly rude to production as well. So that's the tea that is going around in the streets of the Beverly Hills. Meanwhile, so of course, this is actually par for the course for Erika's behavior, allegedly. So meanwhile, as Garcelle is headed out, Erika is drunk and falling over, and Lisa basically has to escort her out of there. Garcelle hopes that now maybe people will see that Erika is having a hard time, and hopefully someone will address it. She does get to sit with Diana, and Diana, in a moment that I would almost feel like was redemption if I did not see her social media post, the problematic post that she did with Miss Philly Diva, and the problematic post that she posted about all the money that she donated to the black people of Haiti. Okay. I would almost like her in this moment, because she does give, I think, Garcelle a genuine apology, and she does genuinely seem to want to make things right with Garcelle. Garcelle accepts in that moment, but Diana wonders if maybe she and Garcelle are able to get along because Sutton isn't there. So I can see that there is going to be this concerted effort to separate Sutton and Garcelle in their friendship because of something else that we'll talk about in just a little bit. So anyway, Kyle hides Kathy's purse, and Kyle runs around looking for the purse. And it occurs to me that Kathy and Kim humble Kyle quite a bit. If Kathy and Kim are around, I don't necessarily know that Kyle would be the sort of lead on this show. I definitely think the attention would go more so to Kathy and to Kim, because they are both very zany with very outstanding personalities, and they don't really even have to do that much in order to shine. Okay. So that's just kind of my thought on that process. And again, it sort of lends itself back to, Kyle kind of acting more or less in a beta capacity. And maybe it's because she has that PTSD from revealing that information about her sister, that now she felt like she got dragged for that, and she doesn't want to face that again. But it's keeping her from being, like I said earlier, the best housewife that she could possibly be. Meanwhile, and also because it's very transparent that she's not being the best housewife that she could possibly be, because she's so scared of Erika. Meanwhile, we learned that PK was arrested on suspicion of DUI. Apparently, he had one glass of wine after dinner, and he was held at the station. My issue with this scene, and I would go into it further, because, Dorit gets mad at him for something that he says about, he didn't even have to tell her he wasn't going to tell her, which is problematic for me. I hate when people say stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you did, because she had to go pick up the car, so you would have had to tell her regardless. But my problem with this whole scene is the problem that I have with Dorit in general, and why I think it might be time for her to move on from this show, is that with Beverly Hills in particular, this is annoying to me, and it is annoying to me with Dorit. My problem is this. If this happened 3 weeks ago, then it should have been discussed 3 weeks ago, because she did not. She found out about it when it happened because she had to go pick up the car. So what I'm saying to y'all is this. If this had not made the headlines, then they wouldn't have even discussed this on the show. But this is a major thing that would happen in someone's life, and nobody brought it up. Not one of these ladies brought it up. You mean to tell me that nobody was going to bring up this whole situation? And the fact of the matter is, it won't even that deep. Granted, nobody wants to get a DUI. Nobody, but the man, I mean, he was held and he was released and they gave him a ticket. Boom. No big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, but it could have been a lot worse. You know, do y'all get what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like if it had made the headlines, we wouldn't have even heard about this. And that to me is problematic, and it is emblematic of a bigger issue that we have with Beverly Hills, with them protecting some of the ladies when they should be giving these types of storylines. She should have been willingly talking about this when it happened, and not simply because the article came out in the Daily Mail or whatever other publications that they came out in. And the fact is that nobody in that social circle thought, oh, well, we'll bring this up. But had this been sudden, it would have been brought up. And dare I say it, even if it was Erika, it would have been brought up as well. OK, I mean, and I don't even really dig Erika. Like, you know what? It's really that I don't dig Erika's actions. So let's just leave it there. Speaking of Erika, she gets samples of her weave and the bundles and whatnot with her team. And then Lisa Rinna stops by. Basically, Erika is going to get all her riches back by selling these bundles. OK, that's her plan. And as she is lamenting about her past life, Erika asks about, how she felt after the party. So we learned that Erika passed out or something like that, hit her head and vomited. And Lisa basically tells her, listen, girl, these cocktails and these medications is not working and you are out of control. OK, even Mikey tells her that these two things are not mixing. And it's a lightweight intervention because it's so casual. But this to me is the type of intervention that you want to OK, it's in the comfort of her home with two friends who are very gently telling her that she is out of control. So they are very gently telling her the truth. They are 100% serious about it. They are forceful, and she hears them. She understands and recognizes that she needs to do better. And basically Lisa tells her this is your rock bottom moment. And it is the intervention that she actually needed. So anyway, we get recaps of everybody's Christmases, and, Sutton had the pandy for Christmas. Sutton stops by. They chat about their dating life and whatnot, and all that kind of stuff like that. Eventually, Sutton goes on an awkward date with the Sanjeet man. All I kept looking at was his butterfly collar on his shirt or whatever. She got the itchy scratchies somewhere on her leg. I don't know. That's all I can really think about. But when Sutton and Garcelle do talk, they talk about Erika, and Garcelle lets her know, well, girl, I'm gonna handle that one, because Sutton is like, it can't be me. Meanwhile, Dorit stops by the dog pound, aka Kyle's house, and they talk about this whole, because listen to this. Dorit is like, oh, PK and this DUI or whatever. And Kyle's like, what? Like she didn't even know about it. Meanwhile, Dorit is like, yes, now that everybody knows, everybody's going to be talking about it. Everybody's going to be talking about it. I'm like, girl, don't nobody care about this situation. Ain't nobody talking about it but you and PK, okay? Y'all the only people that's talking about it. But otherwise, I don't even think Kyle cared or whatever. But what she did care about was that PK told Mauricio, and Mauricio never told Kyle. So Kyle thinking to herself, we married. You supposed to be telling me all the tea, okay? And you ain't give me none of the tea, all right? Because apparently PK let Mauricio know as soon as the thing happened, okay? Again, this is how this whole show works. Everybody's protecting everybody from all the secrets that you know what I'm saying? This would have made, again, for great story. It didn't have to be a scandal. Everything doesn't have to be a scandal for it to be an interesting story and plot point, because it actually happened in real life. You know what I'm saying? But I digression. The highlight of all of this is that Erika and Garcelle meet up, and it's time for their Ponderosa. Now, they both look good. They meet on the rooftop. Erika does try to go for the chamomile tea, but unfortunately, they don't serve the chamomile up on top of the rooftop. So Erika got to go for the Jackie Christie style cognac, okay? And Garcelle is looking like, oh, here we go. So anyway, Garcelle dives right in about how, the last time she's seen Erika, she's been tipsy. And Erika lets her know that Lisa went in on her about this drinking and these medications. And so Garcelle is like, okay, well, this is good. And in my mind, I like how this hopefully is a wrapped up situation. But if she keeps hopping up on these shows drunk and whatnot, then I think it's just going to cause her more problems. I mean, and we all hate the drunk friend. Like, low key, we do. We all put up with the drunk friend, but we all hate the drunk friend. The drunk friend is annoying. The drunk friend is not wanted around. The drunk friend needs to control themselves. The drunk friend needs to get it together, because nobody feels like having to, then when the drunk friend gets drunk, you got to sober all the way up to make sure that the drunk friend is okay. Then you got to listen to them babble on and on about crazy stuff and fall out like Erika did. Meanwhile, I digress. So they get onto this topic of Erika seeing things more clearly now that she's not, or that she's in this space in her life. And Garcelle asks her, well, what do you see in our group of friends now that you are in this new space? And Erika says that I'm glad you have Cherie, because I think that Sutton is a liability from you. Now, when I go back to what Diana said in her confessional, she also said that she felt like she liked Garcelle more, but possibly because Sutton was not there. So now that Erika, who has been very friendly with Sutton, is telling Garcelle that Sutton is a liability, is very interesting to me. And I think what they're trying to do is break up that dynamic and isolate the two of them so that they don't have that power dynamic and back each other up the way that Lisa and Kyle do for Erika, and the way that the rest of them tend to do for Dorit. Boom. That's what's happening here. So anyway, Garcelle is like, why does everybody come down on her? And Erika says, because she's unpredictable. Well, I mean, that to me makes a good reality TV personality. If the person was predictable, then this would not be a good show. And Erika, you are unpredictable. And actually, as Garcelle realizes in her confessional, the person that is the biggest liability in this group is Erika. Garcelle even asked in her confession, I mean, is there a more scandalous woman in America than Erika Jayne? And I laughed when I was making my notes, because I was thinking to myself, you ain't, at this point in time, she ain't know about Jen Shaw, okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was known, but Jen Shaw was maintaining that innocence, baby. But she ain't maintaining that innocence no more. But anyway, my point is this. Erika is the last person that should be calling somebody else a liability. That is very funny to me. It is so funny. That is like that is pot that calling the kettle midnight. Okay. Like, girl, you are the biggest liability that there is on this show. Get out of here with that mess. But anyway, that's the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it down in the comment section down below. Y'all know, listen, I'm doing this review. Like, it is, to be honest with y'all, it's late at night. It is like about 1 o'clock in the morning. Your boy is tired, but we determined to get in this work because that's what we do over here. We just love it. OK, and so I hope that you guys enjoy this video. I will give you the tea on Jackson, Mississippi, and the Bells and the Bell Collective crew as soon as I get a moment and as soon as I see that second episode. So keep it locked onto the channel and to the community tab as well. And I will catch you in the next video.